Hey folks, Jim Hudson from Hudson's On the Spot Guide Service. Out doing a little crappie fishing today, and I wanted to take the time to discuss on detecting the bite while chasing crappies in a basin situation. And what I mean by that is I'm out here in a basin where the fish are suspended about 6 to 12 feet off of the bottom. I'm in 30 feet of water, and these fish are riding high in the water column, and I'm watching them on my Vexilar, dropping my bait down to them, holding it above them, and watching these fish move up the water column to my bait. And what that means is we're in a classic upbite situation. These fish come up to the bait, grab the bait, and actually move a little bit higher, and what happens is you don't feel any weight on your rod anymore, on your rod tip. Now when you're thinking catching fish, you're thinking about, oh, here's the bite. My rod tip bends down when the fish hits my bait. It goes down. Well, this is exactly opposite. There's no weight left onto your line. So what we want to discuss is how do we detect that time and time again to continually put these fish on top of the ice? And where it begins is with the proper rod setup. And that's matching your rod to your reel to your line. And the first thing about that is having a sensitive rod to feel that no weight situation. You don't want a heavy action rod with 2-pound test and a little bitty jig on there. What you want is a specific rod designed for the species that you're fishing. Like here, Jason Mitchell Elite Series 24-inch Panfish Series rod. I have it teamed with a small reel to balance correctly and 2-pound test to match to the small jig that I got. So when I'm jigging, I can feel the weight of that jig at all times. And then when that fish is coming up on my Vexilar, I can feel that the weight is gone from that jig. Bang, set the hook, and then you got a fish on top of the ice. So it's matching your equipment to the fish that you're actually fishing here. Again, when we're talking basin crappies, it's that classic upbite. The fish comes up underneath the bait, grabs it, moves a little higher. There's no weight left on your rod, so you know the fish is there, and you set the hook. Again, you want a sensitive rod like the species-specific rod from Jason Mitchell, 24-inch Panfish Series. I'm jigging it. I can feel the weight at all time. When the weight's gone, I know the fish is there. I set the hook. But now the most classic way and the most classic rod to use for this type of situation is a spring bobber rod. Spring bobber goes onto the end of your rod. You get weight on it, and when you're jigging it and the weight's taken away, bang, the spring bobber goes up. You know the fish is there. Set the hook. All is good. Fish is on top of the ice. Well, through Jason Mitchell Elite Series, came out with a rod for people that don't like using spring bobbers. And what we have is the Meat Stick series of rods. And what that is a graphite blanked rod, so it's got very good backbone for fighting big fish. But on the end is a fiberglass tip that's very, very sensitive. You can see that yellow and orange tip. And now you can see the spoon that I'm using for fishing these crappies, and it loads that rod tip up. So when I'm jigging it down to the crappies, and I'm watching them come up on my screen, my Vexilar. Bang, they hit that spoon. The weight's taken away from the rod tip. I know they're there. I set the hook, fish on top of the ice. So there's 3 different rods in this series. There's the 28-inch, which I have here that I like for fishing outside like we're doing right now, hole hopping. I can stand away from the hole but still see the high-vis tip on there and watch that classic upbite. There's the 24-inch series, which is a great all-around rod, great for crappies, even great for bluegills. My favorite, though, is the 20-inch, this little miniature meat stick. And what's great about that is I can downsize my jig. I can go to a number 14, even number 16 hook, team it with 1-pound test, and really, really go small for negative and neutral panfish, especially some of these crappies in midwinter here in these basin situations. This, again, so you match your reel to your rod to your line. So I got 1-pound test, got a good drag on this Jason Mitchell Elite Series reel, and the fish comes in, grabs the bait, I watch the rod tip go up, I set the hook, fish is on top of the ice. So when you're crappie fishing and you're looking at that classic upbite, it's all about matching your equipment to that fish and looking for that upbite. So what you want to do is go look for a Jason Mitchell Elite Series rod and go have some fun and catch a lot of crappies.